Alrighty then. We are trying something new. We moved our lighting to try to make it so that we don't flash in and out and have that ghostly image. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll have to review the video after it's done to decide if that worked out good. But the other thing that we've got going on is tomorrow is Innistrad. Tomorrow is a new set. And when that happens, I usually like to have more gold saved up. In this case, we did purchase the packet that you can get the one uh, sort of draft pack where you get three of the upper level drafts, as well as an opportunity for you to get two cards, one rare, one mythic, and then 10 packs and black pack. So it's $30. It's not the best deal in the whole wide world. It's not like some of the $15 Mastery Pass level of deals, but I would say that it's along the same lines a pretty nice booster pack if you you know, are going to try to collect up the gems and you're not going to just blow through the gems on a draft. The reason why I think that it's such a good gem creator is, you're going to end up probably placing about 500 roughly. Like you're not going to just walk into a new draft situation and own it. You might do well, but either way, if you look at like how the premier drafts pay out, they pay out pretty good. Like a premier draft, if you were using a token instead of the 1500 and you were able to make it to 3 wins, you're going to get 1,000 gems back in 2 more packs. Assuming that this is a new set and we're going to be drafting as if it was a brand new set, so we're going to try to acquire as much value out of that draft as possible. A good portion of me is going to want to balance playables with rares, and we're going to take a stab at taking a few rares that we probably wouldn't in the normal set. Just because, we know our goal is to acquire in the set. So I'm not saying you're going to go out there and you can just continue to draft forever, get 5 packs and 1,800 gems and you're good to go. That's probably not in the cards for us. We just don't have the kind of familiarity and mastery of that new set. But what we can say is we can average about 3 wins. And if we average 3 wins, sometimes we do 2, sometimes we do 4. This is a huge one right here. But overall, we're trying to average 1,000 gems and 2 packs as the reward for the 3 ones that we got, which will give us 3,000 more gems back towards something like a future Mastery Pass. Mastery Pass is got 28 days left, so it doesn't seem ridiculous to think that like $15 of this is going to go towards recreating the majority of the Mastery Pass on the next set, which is worth about $12 to $15, depending on if they do a pre-purchase kind of thing. And then the other $15 goes towards all the packs and the opportunity to acquire what you can in the deck. So if we really enjoy drafting it and we do very well, we'll continue to spend the gems back in Innistrad and we'll continue to acquire. And if it doesn't meet our bill, kind of like the way Phyrexia All Will Be One we didn't really do great with it. We just held on to the gems in anticipation of using them on the next Mastery Pass 4 weeks from now, right? So we can't really lose. This is kind of like a super pre-order towards the next Mastery Pass, which I think is great. We had enough to cover as is, but it just gives us an opportunity to do more with him. And that leaves us with where we are today. If I look at our profile and I go to our set progression, we have 99% of Phyrexia All Will Be One. If I look at this, there's just not a lot of room left. There's like one rare card that we're missing, and I think we've gotten about half of them up to the 4-copy stage, and we've done better than that on almost everything else. I know I titled this like we're gonna jump into the last quick draft, and we probably should, just because I feel like maybe the risk is pretty low. I don't think that we're gonna go on something like that, but I also don't know if we're gonna get 6 or 7 wins again, like we did on the last deck that we drew. There's only one way to find out, and it's okay for us to take this kind of risk because we did it once before when they gave us the 400 gems 2 days ago, and in the draft, or what was it, 4 days ago or whatever, and in this draft we ended up placing 6th, so we took, a 750 deck. Hey, hold on 2 seconds. Sorry about that. We took 400 gems that they gave us for free. We took 350 gems that we had, and the net gain for us was 850 gems on the way back out. So we went up 500 gems, and then we also got the pack. That draft was really kind of fun. We ended up picking up Jin-Gitaxias, a Praetor that we didn't have from a previous set, and we got to pick up a Thrun, which we used to great effect. We actually splashed a double green pipped Thrun into a red and blue deck. It easily bought us 2 of our wins, maybe 3. Just overall pretty solid. I think we do it. I think we just go for it. Why not? I'm okay with losing the 750. It doesn't like put us down below some kind of line that we would have. And even though it's not going to be the greatest of drafts towards set collection, it's just a fun thing to do on the last day before a new set comes out. It's our kind of our last chance to utilize our expertise in the Phyrexia All Will Be One, which we've gotten. I mean, we have tried all the cards in all the decks pretty well. I think I accidentally changed the name of this deck. Let's see what it is. It is mean, is what it is. It is a no. Okay. Cards that I like in this. A lot of removal spells. A Bankbuster to a Graveyard Trespasser, which we don't have multiple copies for, unfortunately. All the Shieldrids. We only have 1 copy of the Dross, and we only have 1 copy of the Obliterator. These are the cards that I need. I need the black cards that are rare, that can kind of boost up some of the mono black kinds of stuff. We haven't gone crazy crafting all the rest of the Invoke Despairs. And Corrupt is kind of a neat way to deal damage to any target, which includes face, equal to the number of swamps you control, and then you gain life equal to the damage that was done this way. Now, I know this is not in the meta, but I kind of like this sometimes more than an Invoke Despair. It doesn't give you card advantage, unfortunately, but it does give you that ability to sort of stabilize and to just, sneak attack them with maybe 6 or 7 swamps. So because of that, we're playing no special lands, and we're just doing mono blacks all the way through on this. Life of Tashiro is a really good card, and the Reckoner Raid can be super annoying along the way. But the Tenacious Underdog and the Transmigrant Crowns, I don't know. I don't know if they really fit as well together as we would like. Getting a card draw is an acute trick, but putting a body back on the deck quicker might be better. I have an idea, and that is to take these crowns and move them out. The thing about drawing a card is you still got to spend mana to cast said card, right? The Necrogen Communion up here, what it's going to do is we could slap it on something like the Okiba Reckoner's Raid. Now, it has Menace. It will provide a threat. We're not actually using Toxic here in anything else in the deck, but it provides a big enough threat that it kind of shakes up what they're expecting, and it gives them a reason to want to block that card. And so if said card gets blocked, it's going to go back as a, steal a life, gain a life kind of thing. And so what we've got is a black life gain theme between our Corrupt going off over here, our Shieldred going off over here, our Reckoner Raid going off over here. And then we can use Reckoner or Bankbuster and Tenacious Underdog to accrue. We won't be able to accrue based off of Life of Tashiro, unfortunately, unless we use Life of Tashiro to go +2 on something that's tiny, and then we can use that to accrue. But I wouldn't expect Reckoner Bankbuster here to be anything more than a card draw engine. And that seems to be the theme that we're looking for. We're too heavy at the 6 mana spot up here too, and I think that we could come down 1 more even on there since we invoked Despaired and Corrupted, and we can slap in. I kind of like putting another Tenacious Underdog. No, I guess I don't. Life to Shiro could be a little too slow. Bankbuster is very slow as it is, but I think we just do that. Okay, so an interesting mono black deck. that we currently have labeled as no, and I'll just leave it that way. We'll see if that ever becomes something better. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we're looking to jump into the quick draft, because if I look at the collection, if I look at Phyrexia, all will be one, rare and mythic rare, right? And I go, okay, and we're just going to look at black. You can see we are short. We are short. Don't really care about that, but we are very short on Vraskas. I would love to pick me up some Black Sun's Twilights, some Vrans, some Vraskas, or some Glissas, some Venser Corpse Puppets even. Kaito would be great. So this is the rares of note that we want, that we are missing. When I look at some of the other colors that are in here, there's nothing jumping off the page. I mean, I would like an extra Eternal Wanderer, of course. But we've got all the Cures. Nahiri's not that great. We've got all the Kayas if we ever want to. We've got enough Atraxas. Kempra's, he's supposed to be good, I guess. I haven't figured out how to do it. And there's no reason to play more than 3 Skrelv's Hives in my mind. Maybe one more Mondrak would be okay. So, not as much looking towards that. Good. Not really that good. That's fine. I'd like some more Jace. I'd like one more of these. We already talked a little bit about this, but Blue Sun's Twilight's been pretty solid. It really goes well with the Mind Splice as a fun way to get things done. In red, Capricious Hellraiser has been everybody's attention grabber these days, and Luca is always really solid. So we're hoping for one of those 3. And finally in green, the Evolved Spinoderm. I mean, an excellent 5/5 for 4 mana that hits the deck. Don't mind one of these. Not sure if I would actually utilize one of those, but I definitely could use a Tyvar, a Spinoderm, a Thrun, an Atraxas. So there's enough rare cards out there that we're not just collecting gems and trying to sort of poop on people in the format. I think we actually could come up with something. So what do you say we do it? Let's go for a quick draft and let's talk our way through it. Let's figure out if we can put together another deck that does something like 6 or 7 wins. Just get some free cards, right? Last day of the set. So let's go. Going into events, hitting up a quick draft. We're currently at gold right now. We haven't been doing a ton of drafting. We'll say okay. And we're going to draft. I don't think you guys can see the overlay. There's a Draftsmith that gives me an overlay over the top and gets us an opportunity to kind of look at all of the different cards that are there. The other thing is when we hover over them, it'll tell us how many we've got collected. That's the thing that I use the most. The Masticore is excellent. It is hard to keep it on the deck. But it's just kind of a fun one. The writing on the overlay says it's a 5/5 first strike that dodges multicolored nonsense. It's a huge threat, and playing a card per turn isn't a terrible cost. You get a rebate on that card since it turns all your actual discards into removal spells, making it just an amazing bomb. I totally agree with the fact that it's an amazing bomb. And we're going to take it because we only have 2 copies of it. So there's no reason for us not to go after it. This is exactly what we're here to do. Plus, it can turn into a game winner, like again and again and again. It's colorless. It can fit into any color deck we want. Things of note, you always want to look at your pick 1, pack 1 to see what wheels, kind of give you an idea of what the robots are thinking as they go. Very little blue in this deck whatsoever. There is a decent spell trick in the Offer Immortality and the Gulping Scrap Trap if we were looking to do a Proliferate deck, but I don't see the Proliferate deck working very well with the Beatdown Masticore. So I would be looking more for like the equipment affinity here. And some of the oil decks. The red deck really does have the ability to shove damage down people's throat faster. And things like Toxic that's here, if you notice, like 1 damage, 4 mana only does 3 damage. 1 damage, but gives them an extra Toxic creature. Toxic just doesn't fit with the Masticore, and it would be really difficult to marry those 2 concepts together, since one of them is playing against 1 health pool, which is their Toxic, like tolerance, and the other one's playing towards the health pool of, let's just kill their creatures and keep removing them so we can beat down more damage. Big fan. We're going here. We're starting on the Masticore. Okay, so still staying with the beatdown theme, but looking at what we've got, there were about 2 or 3 cards that I would have liked out of Pick One, Pack One that were in the red side of things. This is a pretty decent enabler for getting something like Toxic, and this is a really decent way to enable some splashing. I don't think it's a pick two in either category. They're just neither one of them are that good. This is an excellent card if you can make sure that you're going to corrupt people. And white and black both have some very early corruption mechanisms, whether it's like a Bilious Skull Dweller or some of the like Vraska Fall, like some of the cards that black has to play that sort of just gifts out a poison toxic piece. And so there is a really good case for using this card. We don't have a color that we're married to, but we're going right back down the toxic category. And remember, we're not trying to split our attention into 2 different things. We're trying to unify them so that there's synergy across the whole thing. So if we're not using things like Vraska's Fall later on, like if we had not selected a beatdown card rare, and we were still in the toxic category, maybe we took like the Flensing Raptor as an example on the first pack, this thing. Then, of course, I think Vivisection Evangelist is a remarkably good second pick. It's perfect for, right there. Um, but we're in the beatdown side of things. And on the beatdown side of things, we like haste. Haste allows us to sneak in and attack against them. This one also creates an extra 1/1 body so that it allows that hasty attack to also have a chump blocker on the way back. And the Masticore is, getting 2 for 1 on the bodies is really, really good because the Masticore is going to make life very difficult on their end to create some kind of defense against what we're getting done. Red is just one of the strongest colors. Anything that drags me towards red makes me very happy. Chimney Rabble is one of the top performing commons in the set. So it is almost impossible not to take the Chimney Rabble here. We are passing up a decent artifact trick, a really good one if you've got a whole deck built around it. These kinds of things can help set that stuff off. So can these, although Veil is just a little less important in limited, and it's a little bit more important in constructed. So Chimney Rabble. And a Retrofitter is one of the greatest blue artifact decks blue artifact cards. It's absolutely necessary if you're going to do the blue artifact deck. This Serum Core Chimera is another really, really solid blue-red that basically gives you a bit of a reward for every spell that you cast. You're getting, 1/3 of the oil counters necessary before you draw a card when you remove it, and deal out a 3 damage little lightning bolt to whomever you'd like to go after, target creature or planeswalker. So I like this card. I think it's a little bit more of the control deck style. You're not going to be swinging in with 15 on turn 4, right? Like you're casting this and you're getting a 2/4. That's a flyer. So you're really kind of shutting down the skies, and you're hoping to catch 2 or 3 spells. Maybe one of them that has a proliferate before you get a chance to utilize the Serum Core Chimera in a way that actually pays off. That's very, very slow, in my opinion. Our third Flensing Raptor, interestingly enough, we could have really owned the skies with some toxic attacks. And here's that one of those toxic enablers, a flying 1/1 toxic Pestilence Siphoner that I was mentioning before. Like if we had taken the Vivisection, we would have felt pretty good, right? 2 Flensing Raptors, Pestilence Siphoner. We've got some options in what we want to draft if we want to get a little lower to the ground. In our case, we're going to take a look at this, the Volt Charge. I do think that it's a 3-mana burn spell that by itself isn't world changing, but there is a lot of oil that's available in the beatdown red side of things, and being able a chance to proliferate against those oils can be very, very solid. I know the Serum Core Chimera, we're early enough in the draft. We're not shutting anything down by taking this. It's really a combination of these two. And I think I'm going to end up in the Serum Core Chimera, and here's why. We're going to need cards. We're going to need spells to draw cards in order to make our Argentium Masticore work. I can imagine building a blue-red spell deck that really focuses on card draw and on throwing some of those defensive oily creatures that are out there. Because we're also going to need oil counters. And so if we take the Serum Core Chimera here, we are getting our third in the collection, which is one of the whole reasons why we do the draft, right, is to collect what the heck's going on. And the other reason we're going to do it is we're going to try to kind of shut down any skies, slow down the game a little bit, allow us to collect the kinds of cards we need for the Master Core to really take over the entire set. We can't cast this till turn 5. This is turn 4. It's partly... They don't exactly synergize, but the cards that make the Master Core work also will make the Serum Core Chimera work. And they're not the artifact spell cards. They're not the Escaped Experiment artifact cards. And they're not this creature card. They're the cards that say, like the Augury, as an example, or the Serum Snare, as an example. Things that have draw, because we'll need cards to draw. Things that have proliferate, because we'll need the counters to proliferate. So Volt Charge looks really, really good, but risk-taking, willing to go after it for that extra one, we're taking a Chimera, and we're really pretty heavy now. We got to start looking at our curve and saying we're going to need something at the bottom of the curve. What did we get? The most bottom of the curve, best red common in the set. The Hexgold Slash, really, really effective against the poison that's going to almost be a guarantee that we're going to have to face. I am a huge fan of the Gatixian Raptor as well, but we're already shutting down the skies. This is a 3 mana, this is a 1 mana. We really would like to get a little bit lower to the ground there. I'm not as impressed with this Furnace Skull Bomb. It's very cheap to cycle. You get the card draw on the way back, so it replaces itself, as well as popping 2 oil counters on a target creature. 2 oil counters on a Serum Core Chimera would be pretty good. So while I'm not thinking that the Furnace Skull Bomb is like a must-have card, it is something that if it wheels in this pack, it is the second most important card that I like besides the Raptor. This is counter magic. I'm good. I'm not great at counter magic, meaning like I'm not always great at holding it back and utilizing it. It will stop one of their spells, so it's kind of like a removal. It will allow us to gain more Serum Core Chimera stuff going on. So if this doesn't wheel, but this does wheel, I probably am taking either one of these over the Raptor, depending on how the curve lines up by the time pick 4 comes all the way back around. All right. So as we've been paying attention to things, we've got a couple of options. We're hoping for the Volt. We're hoping for the Skull Bomb, and we're taking the Slash. All right. Escaped Experiment is not good for our deck. It doesn't accomplish what we want to accomplish, so we just kind of move past it. This is good in the equipment side, and certainly on the beatdown side of things, equipment would be good. Doesn't draw us a card, doesn't move us in the direction we're trying to go. This one does draw us a card and cares about the fact that there are oil counters that are out there. Whenever it attacks, you have to remove an oil counter, and if you do, it gets a +1. Actually, no, this one's the other one. I'm thinking of the other guy that draws a card when he ETBs. But the Mirror Convert is sneakily good. It is a mana dork if you are trying to fix. Like if you're saying like I need to toss out a Master Core on turn 4. I've got lots of cards, and he's got a big board presence, and I do not. And the Mirror Convert can really allow this to kind of fit into like the curve, so to speak. It's low. It's a toxic creature. It's got a glass jaw as a 2-for-1, like 2/1 that's on there. So we don't care about the toxic side of things. We care more about the pay 2 life to add a mana. So I think that we'll take it. It's not my most ideal 2-drop, but it's not my least ideal 2-drop either. Other cards that we would look at would be things like this. It's a non-creature spell, so it would add a Serum Core Chimera. Drump, it would also add a mana, but it really doesn't do what I want it to do until it becomes corrupted, and that's just not great. The Fair Basilica, we wouldn't be able to do anything more with it. It's just kind of a splashy sort of mana card, so I don't like it. And the Indoctrine Attendant just doesn't fit anything, any of the themes of what we're doing. So we're taking our Mirror Convert, and we're actually pretty happy with how we're looking so far. Now we've got an interesting choice. Hazard Blast is really, really good in a stalled board state. If we had a lot of really like 1/3, kinds of guys, the Hazard Blast can be a neat trick to sort of sneak in the last 7 or 8 damage. But that's not what we're doing in this deck so far. What we're doing is we are really kind of focusing on getting to this 4 or 5 slot and then using our bombs to remove their stuff off the board. And at that point, we just have free attacks all the way through. Plate Golem. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has one or more oil counters, you get to put another one. And then creatures you control with oil counters get a +1/+1. That's going to make this look pretty saucy on there. And there is a part of me that just continually thinks if we're going to be in red-blue, we're going to want the beatdown strategy. We really are going to have some oily cards coming. We don't have them yet, but I think they're coming. And so, do I take the Plate Golem on pure prospect that some of those oily cards could really end up becoming much more of a threat? I think of things like the Axiom Engraver being a 2/4 instead of a 1/3. That's pretty solid. I think of things like the Glistener Seer sitting out at 1/4 for 1 mana. That's pretty good. The other things are like the Raptors that we wanted to use to take down the skies. All of these get much, much greater. The second Mirror Convert doesn't do that kind of board pumping kind of thing. And so if you're just looking at what we've got and saying, I've got to stay in this little category, and I don't know where I'm headed, then you're not going to go out on a limb for the Plate Golem, and you're probably going to end up taking something like the Hazard Blast, thinking, here I am casting a 4-mana spell, and after I've cast my 4-mana thing, I'll suddenly be in a good position to attack in and throw a counter up there. But that's just dirtily and slow, and I don't think that that gets us where we want to go. I think this as a 3-mana drop that can create a better board pump for all of the little cheap oily guys that are in the blue-red category are better. So I'm going with the Golem. All right, so we have 3 out of the 4 copies of the Mirren Safe House, and as long as it's on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all lands in all graveyards. Just not going to get where we want to go. Like the Prologue to Pheresis, we need the card draw. We are okay with popping in an extra poison counter, and more importantly, we're also okay casting a spell over here. That's going to get us kind of one step closer to where we want to go. The card draw is the reason why we're buying this card, not the Mastercore. Just think, I'm casting this card for 2, and it's replacing itself with something, and I can then get rid of whatever it is if it's bad, or I can cast it if it's good. So it's just giving you an opportunity to kind of see an extra card, see an extra body. We do have 1, 2 bodies, but we don't have a lot of bodies down here, and we're halfway through pick 1. So we're going to have to start to prioritize like some 2-drops, like the Shrapnel Slinger. But we're not seeing the Hazard Blast get picked up. We're not seeing the Slingers get picked up. I wish this was a different blue 2-mana spell, one that would really synergize across all of our stuff. So still looking at the Shrapnel Slinger as a kind of a cheesy removal, board presency kind of card, but it doesn't enable a lot happening up here at the top, and there is some synergy up here at the top for the Prologue. So Prologue to Pheresis, a better card than I thought it was going to be. And I'm using my experience to make that decision. And we are rewarded, and rewarded mightily, for taking our Plate Golem. 2 choices. Exuberant Fuseling is a 1-mana body. That's something that we're trying to do, is get on the board early. It gets a +1 for each oil counter that's on it. If Plate Golem already exists, it'll get an extra oil counter, and then it'll also get the +1/+1 for having oil counters on it. And so what you're going to end up with is a 1/1 when it hits the deck, a 2/1 because it gets the extra counter, and then a 3/2 at cast for being on the board with the Plate Golem. Pretty solid for 1 mana, right? A 3/2 for 1 is pretty good. So I like it. The Gatixian Raptor, though, is a little bit more powerful, and it's a little bit higher on the curve. We have seen one other one of these that could be coming our way, but a part of me wants to own the skies more than I want to necessarily own the floor. Um, Better card here. I think we take the Raptor. Terramorphic Expanse, not really going to work for us. Neither is Offer Immortality. So it's a Hazard Blast, which is my least favorite, a Vat of Rebirth, which just doesn't really fit anything, or one of these two, which are both really, really good. I guess the biggest thing that I can take from this pack is that the oil blue-red seems open, especially if a Fuseling is still floating around out there. Part of me, though, thinks that, like, let's say it's turn 4, turn 5, and we need a top deck draw, which happens in this format, especially if you've got some of that sort of, control-y kind of familiarity with the this and this. And you draw a Contixian Raptor, and you're good. You draw an Exuberant Fuseling, and you're not. So I think we've got some answers coming. Yeah, we'll take the Fuseling. We'll see another Raptor. We'll take the Fuseling. All right. We've got a cool little spell over here that gives +1/+3, gains flying, and a toxic. I'm less concerned about the toxic getting across the finish line, but tossing something like that instant spell can make the Mire Convert an incredibly good blocker where it doesn't look like it's a good blocker at all. It can allow something like a Chimney Rabble to get over the top and actually deliver some decent damage. And while I know that it is not the card that most people like to see, it is not a bad card in any way, shape, or form. The thing is, we need the bodies in the 2-drop slot. We've got 2 bodies, and that's it. And we still have a shrapnel slinger hanging out over here. I think I'm taking the slinger because we just have to curve out correctly. And this thing can be remarkably good when there's an Urbask Forge on the deck. This thing can be remarkably good when they have a Master Core that becomes available that's on there. Can't be blocked, targeted, or dealt damage by anything that's multicolored, right? Um, this thing is not multicolored. This thing does not have hexproof. It just has first strike. And so I do believe that in general, a Shrapnel Slinger is the Master Core's sort of Achilles heel. For 2 mana, you can zip that out of there. So we'll take it in the hopes that the mirror match doesn't destroy us. And we do get a Cackler on the way back. I like this card. I especially like this card if we can start filling in some low-level, like slow down board control, oily red and blue cards, like we've done on some of the decks in the past. I'd like it better than an Autonomous Furnace. I know a lot of people are a big fan of cards like that that help you get the card draw. We should consider this, though, with our Master Core. Huh. Cacklers will come and go. Autonomous Furnace, we might not see another one, not because people will draw them, but just because they don't seem to always line up with what we're looking for. So let's take the Furnace in the hopes that if we ended up casting this and then we don't need the mana, but we do need the card, we're in a better position for it. Coming back over here, we can do the same thing with the Surgical Bay. Titanic Growth is a non-creature spell, but it's not in any colors that we can utilize. And the Bladegraft Aspirant is in an equipment direction that doesn't seem to be where we're headed at all. We seem to have this oily, spell control come up to the bomb scenario, which I think is what the most consistent success looks like in this. Escaped Experiment's just not a good card. We don't have enough artifacts. So I'm not likely to play the Surgical Bay, but it's there. And what is going on? I told you there would be more Raptors. I told you there was a good chance that the Skull Bomb cycles. I would much rather have the Raptor than the Skull Bomb, especially with the Ickerplate Golem sitting here. Giving this thing that extra +1/+1 makes it so much more powerful. Atlas is what's being taken. it's not what's being played. Oh, look at this. I actually like this card. 5/5 Death Toucher. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and for each opponent who can't, you gain a life. It's like a Duress, a 5/5, a Death Toucher. Can really freeze the board. Dude, I've never seen a pack that had all this in one shot. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, we'll never be able to cast it in limited, but it is our fourth Atraxa, and we have three, and it is so hard to walk away from the fourth. That's what we're here to do. I don't think we're going to have a hard time with two more packs to go to come up with 13 more playables. That's how much, assuming that these two, are not either in or not. They're just kind of replacing a land card. We're looking for 13 playables. Here's the problem. This is so good, and this is so good. And our deck wants a second Serum Core Chimera. Our deck wants a Hex Gold Slash. Our deck wants a Chimney Rabble. Other people's deck are going to want some of this other stuff along the way. Our deck wants a Glisten Seer. This pack has everything that I want in it, and then it tempts me to go take a card that I'm not going to play. If I didn't need one more Serum Chimera for my collection, I would take the Atraxa. But I need it, and I don't think I need a fourth Atraxa. Like 4 copies of a 7-mana card just, I mean, I guess that there are some things you can do with some graveyard hate that's in there, but to me, I'm not playing that kind of deck too often in my life. I don't think that the slash cycles all the way through, but I would rather take the risk that we miss out on the slash and gain the Glisten Seer instead and the Serum Core Chimera versus something like the slash and nothing else. Don't forget, we still have a Chimney Rabble over here, which doesn't have all the synergy. It's just a really good, solid card. And there are enough other cards here that I would imagine something. The Glisten Seer is definitely gonna cycle. I think we take the Serum Core Chimera. Everybody wants the slash. Not everybody wants the Serum Core Chimera. My deck could still function without a second Serum Core Chimera. It would function better right now with a slash. It's a tough pick. Turning down an Atraxa, turning down a Serum Core Chimera, turning down a Chimney Rebel, turning down a Glisten Seer. All for a interaction spell. But these kinds of slashes allow these kinds of cards to explode. So this isn't just a 2 or a 4 damage 1 mana like spell. This is something that's really going to give us an opportunity to do a lot. I don't think that these help us draw cards along the way, and at some point we're going to want to start to see some things that help us draw cards. So slash in hopes of a Serum Core Chimera wheel. It seems weird, but that's the best pick. We have 4 copies of the Bloated Contaminator, probably the best card in green that is out there. We definitely are looking for things like the Axiom Engraver in order to create the synergy that's going on here. We definitely can look at things like the Vivisurgent Insight as a great way for us to draw the cards necessary to make the Master Core work and also to proliferate and put 2 on our Serum Core Chimera. I think this wheels. I think this wheels. So I don't think that we are in a bad situation here with either one of these. We don't need the gems, so we're not going after that. So for us, it's just which one of these do we think we want the most. And for us, I think this just fits too much of what we're trying to do. It is moving our curve dangerously higher. We're up to 2.5, which is kind of the sweet spot. We don't really want to get too much higher than 2.5. So if we're going to take a 5-mana card, we should start considering like these 2 drops with much more awareness, I should say. Ooh, I don't know. Like this card could definitely save the day, but I think it wheels. I think we should take the engraver. So that's twice we've had to pass down really good cards in order to take something that we thought would maybe fit a little bit better. Magmatic Sprinter is a super fun card if you are dropping oil counters onto things, and we are talking about dropping oil counters onto things. Um, the dose is a decent removal spell, and the proliferate certainly makes it much more enticing for us. But this Magmatic Sprinter has all of these unique ways of pumping things like our Axiom Engraver, our Gitaxian Raptor, our Fuseling, our Serum Core Chimera. It also can pump itself. It also can come in with an extra oil counter on it, which will allow it to maybe, well, not really. It just give it the +1, essentially, that's on there. Which, nothing wrong with a 4/3 coming in with haste, right? This is a great trick, and if we were in green, I think we're either looking at this or this. Since we're in the blue-red category and we're not in the equipment side of things, we're not paying attention to Necrosquito, which unfortunately is just too slow for this format. And Mandavar Justice in the blue-white artifact kinds of things is a key 2-drop that you really need. We're going to take the Magmatic Sprinter, though, as a way to kind of stay on theme, and we are rewarded very, very quickly with a Skitterfang. Atrax's Skitterfang is just oh so good. It is essentially the Steel Seraph, but you only get an attempt at handing off a deal for every oil counter that's on there. Well, if we have a Nickerplate Golem, we're getting an extra attempt. This is not a 2/2, it's a 3/3. That's good. And then we can hand out things like Death Touch. So we can start to take things like our Mirror Convert, who's kind of sitting in the back and he's not really that much of a threat. We can turn him into a flyer. We can put a Death Touch on him and turn him into a missile. There are a lot of things that we can get a chance to do that's on there. Unfortunately, things that we're missing, though, is the card draw category. The experimental augury is exactly what we need in order to create the card draw. And so the theme of this deck has been we'll give you all the best picks, but next to each other, and you can only select one, which is a pain in the ass. We're coming back to Atrax's Skitterfang, though. It's just a card that's got way too many use cases in way too many circumstances in our deck, and it's just kind of crazy for us not to go after him. Planar Disruption's really, really solid. Cephalopod, Sentry, and Tyvar Stand, like everything here, here, and here are A tier. Very, very good. They just don't fit what we're trying to do. And we're pretty deep now into our deck creation. We are not, we're not we're not looking for anything else except card draw and two and one body drops in order to curve out. I feel like our 3-mana spot is so good. I would definitely take another Raptor, Sprint, Skitterfang. I would probably take one more copy of any of these. Would also take another copy of Chimney Rabble, and we can see if that Serum Core Chimera wheeled back to us. So we've got some cards that we still are looking for, but we really need to start looking down here. And that's where things like the Aspirant's Ascent is really going to play off. Can you imagine we just pop an Ascent onto our Mastercore and just boom, like right over the top? We could pop one onto our, well, we're not a lot of, maybe Exuberant Fuseling, who's always going to end up having that like just one, right? Maybe 2 damage, but he's going to be really easy to beat. But with all of the Ickerplate Golems, and if we can get some of those other proliferating cards, I can imagine the Fuseling, if we can end up with a Red Skull Bomb, the Fuseling ending up being a pretty decent threat, that tossing him up into the air and seeing if he gets across the finish line is pretty good. Better than Flash Trick as a defense side of things. And other than that, there's no red cards in this pack. So we're just shopping between these two choices. And this just has too many synergies with the Serum Core Chimera to avoid. Ooh. There's the Vivisurgence Insight. This is pick 6. We haven't wheeled yet the pack 2 or pick 2, I believe, when the Vivisurgence Insight was available to us. This is an artifact creature that's got oil on it, but not the kind of oil I want. You know, let's say Eureka Plate Golem's out, and then you cast your Strider. He now has two opportunities to crew himself. So he's a 6/6 that can crew himself twice. That's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. It's just that's not the beatdown strategy we're going for. This is the beatdown strategy we're going for. A 5/5 with first strike and protection from multicolored that allows you to discard a card and blow anything up that you're looking for. Vivid Surgeon's Insight allows you to draw 3 cards, which would give you that card advantage, kind of replenish the hand just when you need it in order to make the Master Core survive. And so you can cast this on 5, you can cast this on turn 6. The other piece to this is the Proliferate will go in a positive effect all the way down the line. Almost every single creature is going to have some kind of oil or oil synergy built into them. And so the Vivisurgeon's Insight may not be most people's bomb that they're looking for, but it kind of makes our bombs explode. This is the other 1/1 body that we would look at. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter, and then you can remove it and ping a guy. As exciting as this seems, oh my gosh, it's oil. Oh my gosh, it's a body. Oh my gosh, it's ready to go. It's not the style of deck that we're going after. That is a hasty, think like mono red beat down. Like we're just going to get there early and we're going to out tempo you. And then when you finally get your guys up, we're going to use those core, like those, oil counters, and we're just going to toss them back out. You know, the Ichor Plate Golem on the deck can make the Sawblade Scamp a little bit better, but we're playing at the low end of the curve. We're trying to go ping 1, ping 2, ping 1, ping 2, as opposed to destroy your best creature, hit you for 5, destroy your best creature again, hit you for another 5. I kind of like that idea better. So we're going to swing for the fences on this. It is going to move our mana curve up, but we needed something in the card draw category, and that's exactly what we needed. Part of me wants to take the Strider. It's an oil counter. The Golem will help boost it. It'll come in after the Golem's on the deck. It'll come in with an extra oil counter on it. It'll have that +1/+1 built into it. It kind of becomes a bomb on its own. And I do like haste at that level. What I'm scared about, though, is like we've got 11 total creatures, and not many of them are living down here. A lot of them are living here. And is it possible that we are not getting to are we getting overrun, right? Are we, Shrapnel Slinger, Mirror Convert, and Axiom Engraver, and Exuberant Fusling are not by themselves enough to hold down the fort. But Hexgold Slash can help, and Gatixian Raptor can definitely help. This isn't really defense, though. If this was a different piece of 2-drop equipment, like maybe the one that just keeps it a 2/2, but the fact that this becomes a 3/1 is really more of a just sacrificial lamb. And we've got that down here. So we're taking the Strider. We're going for the big boys on this one. We're not staying small. Okay. As an additional cost of the spell, you have to discard a card, and then you get to draw 2 cards. Kind of terrible. Think about it. You're giving up a card, and then you have to discard a second card. And then you're gaining 2 cards back. Okay. So maybe you're getting rid of an extra land because you're flooded. And then you're gaining 2 cards, and you're hoping that one of them is another spell that you get a chance to cast. And by casting the spell, you're putting your counters on the Serum Core Chimera. That's if everything works out. I do think, though, that with where our curve is at and the decision that we just made with the Furnace Strider back here at the top, I don't think I've got room for the Strider. And I don't think the Strider makes the deck. And I'm not so sure this one does either. But 4 mana versus 2 mana, I'm going to go with this. Not excited about that, but that's okay. This may not be a playable. We're on Pack 2, Pick 9. We're going to start to look at some of the cards that are not as playable. We've got a blue card here that can proliferate. Um, it doesn't come in with any oil, but it helps all the other oil creatures, and it is a nice body that can tap. I don't hate it. I think this is better though. Remember, we're trying to beat down. We're gonna when we get to this stage in the game, when we're in like the past the third turn, we are in a position to say, I'm going to destroy whatever you've got on defense, and I'm going to cast Chimney Ravels and continually go wide and spread out and just take you out. I think that nobody has regretted drawing a Chimney Rebel on a draw. Molten Rebuke is extremely expensive in the curve, so we'll take a kitty, but we're not going to play that kitty. The Bardiche just isn't going to work either. But it is something to point out, by the way. We have 3 cards in the sideboard at this point, and one of them is theoretically or 2 of them are theoretically playable. When they talk about like get in your lane, figure out what's open, figure out what's available. A good way to test if you're in the right spot is sometimes to take a little cue and say like, how many cards have I had to take that I don't think I want to play or have to play? And in this case, almost none, right? Like almost none. And so that's excellent. We own 4 copies of each of these cards all the way through. This is the scariest card to deal with, and I don't see us. There is a world where I think maybe black could become splashable, but it is pretty far out there. Expand the Sphere, we've got 4 of, we've got 4 of, we've got 4 of. Atlas is kind of interesting. He's a non-creature spell. We already have an Atlas that's in there. This is also a non-creature spell. So is this. I guess we'll take this as a non-creature spell. And it's weird, we're kind of making a bit of a blue artifact synergy sideboard over here as a possible replacement for the blue oil spell side that's on there. But didn't do too good on the last bit. And, oh, snap. Okay, couple things to point out. We did not get that experimental augury to come back around for us on the last one. But you can't control a board better than Jace the Perfected Mind. And if you can cast a Jace the Perfected Mind in your draft, you can mill them out very, very quickly. This thing already mills 15 cards out of a 40-card deck. And remember, everyone's going to start with 7 of them already in their hand, right? You're halfway home to killing them the minute that you cast this on turn 3, right? Because they go from 40 cards, 7, and then by turn 3 they're down to, if they haven't cast any card draw spells, they're going all the way down to 30 cards. You cast this, there goes 15 of them if you'd like, or you can hold on to it. You can plus up, you can control the board for 1 or 2 turns, maybe use some of your good blockers, or even just sacrifices, who cares? The idea is you can get that Jace into the 21, 22 card area very, very quickly. You just end the game with the Jace. I actually like it as a bomb more than I like the Mastercore. I think that it's more versatile. It's got the capability of holding everything down. This is just such a good card, and this card and this card are ideal for our deck. But you don't pass a Jace the Perfected Mind when you're already in blue. You just don't do it. And that card by itself, right, by itself has made this entire draft worth it. Because we only had 1 copy of it. Now we own 2. That's great. We only had 1 copy of this. Now we have the extra one. So, between the Master Core, the Serum Core Chimera, and the Jace, we've pulled out the 3 powerful cards that you're usually looking to gain when you're drafting, which is awesome. Trawler Drake has a ton of synergy in what we're doing around here. I only have 3 of them too. Trawler Drake's a +1 counter on it, and then it gets an additional counter over here, and then for every spell that we cast, we gain an additional counter on it. I should say spell, it's a non-creature spell, right? And what do we have in the non-creature spell category? We've got a Thrill, 2 Hex Gold Slashes, 1 Aspirant Ascent, 1 Prologue to Phyrexius, 1 Jace the Perfected Mind, 1 Vivisurgeon's Insight. Enough that this thing can become a pretty decent flyer. The other aspect that you'd want to look at is Proliferate. If we've got proliferate on a card, then we can also find ways to boost up what we're looking to do. So overall, we don't have a ton of proliferate. We just have the one proliferate card, but this just fits the bill. To give you an idea what they're saying on there, and this is untapped.gg. Trawler Drake doesn't get a full build around grade because it's just a good card. Yeah, there are some decks where it won't fit, but it only takes 2 spells before you'll be happy with it. You'll rarely cut this, and it's worth taking early, trying to maximize. Working with spells to proliferate, make this thing out of control quickly. It's the kind of win condition that I'm into. This is another good win condition, but I think this wheels. Um, there's another Chimney Rabble. We're already at 2. I've definitely done decks with 4 of these things that are in there. We would be looking to cut one of these really fun cards up here at the top, and that's some. Let's stay in the mid-range, and look at you, you delicious, delicious little card. Volt Charge or Experimental Augury? Which one? 2 mana, 3 mana. Removal, proliferate. Everybody gets bigger. Everybody gets an extra core. 2 cores on here. Card draw, better for the Master Core. 2 mana, better for the curve, which we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Also, we'll get you the 2 points on each one. The real question is the Volt Charge's damage a greater effect than the card for the Master Core? In the early part of the early half of the game, that 3 damage might remove everything from 3 mana and below. In the later half of the game, the card that comes from the Experimental Augury will remove everything from 4 mana and above because of the Master Core explosions that happen. It will also give us back the 3 mana drop that's on there. And so overall, the most amount that we can get out of a card is the Experimental Augury. And overall, we're going to cast more Experimental Auguries than we are Volt Charges. I know this thing looks perfect for what we're trying to do. This thing actually is perfect because of the Master Core for what we're trying to do. We're going with the Augury. We're going with the Augury. This one's a neat one. It's a spell, it's a pump, and exile the top card of your library until the next end of your turn. You can play that card. Sometimes what that can do is mean that you're not going to play a card that's in your deck as opposed to playing the card that's out on the side. And then getting that kind of pump, that 3-1 pump that's on there is really good. The only negative side of it is the proliferate doesn't exist here. So you're going to do a great job of affecting your Master Core and a great job of affecting your Serum Core Chimera. Here, you're going to do a great job of that, a great job of on your Drake, on your Gitaxian Raptor, on your Axiom Engraver, on your Exuberant Fuseling. Like, we got a lot more going on over here in the Skitterfang. So we're going to take the Experimental Augury, again, because we're really focusing on getting better at that lower level end of the curve. And now we've got an interesting choice. A body that also carries oil, a spell trick that would make something like this body actually relevant in the later part of the game, a removal burn spell that really holds hands with equipment that we don't have, unfortunately. This would not be my 23rd playable, but I do think that we've got to get our creature count down here up. There's just not enough creatures that's on the board. There are some spells that we can cast, but not a ton either. Something's going to end up given in this deck, and I'm going to be sick to my stomach when I see it. But is it this? I think it is. I know Rebel Salvo is so good. But we don't get there. We got a lot of good things happening here in the middle. We're going to end up cutting a convert. I'm trying to think about what card would come out of the deck for the additional playables that might be coming, because we're only at pick 4, pack 3 here. And so if I'm starting to imagine what would be removed from my deck, um, Mirror Convert helps me get to something like a Jace quicker. It puts more counters on him if I want to count him, like not on turn 3, but I want to count him on turn 3, but I want the mirror to pay 2 life in order to make the Jace a full-bodied Jace. I think that that's pretty solid synergy along that line. It would be a Furnace Strider, most likely, coming out of the deck. I cannot imagine losing my Master Core. Although we've struggled in the card draw situation, this can give us that card draw back to kind of supplement what's going on with our Master Core. This is just, um, I think we're fine, right? Like, no matter what we pick, I think we're going to be okay. I do think that we can have to unfortunately avoid the Rebel Salvo and start to think about things like the Sawblade Scamp or the Blazing Crescendo. The Blazing Crescendo is a really, really nice trick, but we may not have the bodies down here to accomplish that. Um, it also doesn't completely fit into what we're trying to do. The Sawblade Scamp does. It's a hasty body that gets out early. It causes some damage, collects some oil counters, pings damage after the fact. Master Core allows it to come back in earlier. Ickerplate Golem pumps him up. Too many other synergies exist with the Sawblade Scamp compared to the Blazing Crescendo. Maybe the Blazing Crescendos, maybe they come back, right? It's either this or this, one of those two. Dune Mover is great if you're splashing. We're not, so we don't care about that. Mirror Convert is really nice because you don't care about like what your combo of uh, colors are in your mana before you get going. I definitely stalled out there. I think my CPU got too hot. Sorry about that. I was just talking though about how the Mirror Convert might be a cut, and the Axiom Graver will not be a cut. The Axiom Graver is exactly the kind of card I'm looking for in order to get up here and to be able to play up here. If we don't have cards like the Axiom Engraver down here in the bottom of it, we don't survive the initial onslaught of Toxic that comes our way. We don't survive the initial onslaught of 2 mana or 2 drops that are coming out of things like Skrell's Hive as an example. There's just too much that catches up here. Prologue to Pheresis might go, but for now, let's pump up some bodies down here at the bottom and give our guys a chance. Very, very interesting here. An Anointer. It deals X damage to any target where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is sort of 7, 8, 9. 9 different oil counters? 10 different oil counters? Pretty cool. But I think the Raptor's better. And in our deck, I'd rather go 3 mana than 4. And I think that the Raptor is better. So we take the Raptor. Oh boy. Yeah. Don't ask me what's going on around here. I have no idea. Non-creature card in our color, non-creature card in our color. Got oil, not likely to get played. Hazard Blast does 1 damage and then they can't attack. It's kind of a neat, it's a neat sort of pause, win condition. I don't see wanting it more than like a Furnace Strider. I don't see wanting it more than a Chimney Rebel. And those are the kinds of cards that I would be cutting to put it into the deck. I also don't feel the same. I don't see wanting this card more. Here's why I think the Ribskiff is worth it. The draw a card. When it enters the battlefield, it replaces itself and draws a card. You get the kick, you get the card replacement. You can kind of, you can't self-crew it. It's kind of a do-nothing sitting on the side. But would you want to take a 3-mana creature, like maybe a Skitterfang after an Ichorplate Golem is sitting up there. Maybe maybe a Fuseling, maybe, but yeah. We don't have a good pick here. Okay. Hmm. We're going to have to cut the Serum Core Chimera. If I cut Prologue and I cut Serum Core, these two would go off to the side. I feel like the Chimney Rabble is a better fit than the Furnace Strider. I think the Sprinter may not fit quite as much, or the Aspirant's Ascent may not fit, because we don't care about the spell or the trick as much as we care about what's going on the board. And I think we're better built like this. We do have one Ribskiff already, and another Ribskiff would help support the card draw necessary on the Master Core. It would allow us to continue to cast things and continue to draw cards on the way back in. Nothing else here. Well, okay, just in case we really need. We're 2.8. We've got a nice ramp in here without the Serum Core Chimera. We are cutting a couple things here because we've got 24 playables, and we would end up be putting 16 lands. I said 24 playables because these wouldn't go. We're not going to need these quite so much if we're not desperate. Well, no, we are. We need the card draw. Less exciting 2-drop, but a 2-drop nonetheless, or a trick that is much more exciting and helps us draw cards. It could also go on one of our flyers to really make them into just something juicy. Could be a game winner. Now I really wish I'd have taken the Shrapnel Swinger. Okay, so I just snapped up the Dune Mover because it's a 2-body, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of relook at what we've got going on. The unfortunate side of things was that, we just didn't have enough non-creature spells to justify the Serum Core Chimera. It just would be a 2/4 body that just doesn't really do enough. We cut these 2 spells out of the equation, and we've got these blue artifacty cards that are over here that have like some oily synergy or some artifact synergy in there. We also have these artifacts that draw cards as a possibility to go along with the Master Core. We are cutting 4 cards, and one of them is most likely. There's just a lot of red here in the 1-drop slot and in the 2-drop slot. There's only 1 blue pip total, so I have no problems going down a blue card over here. I'm keeping these as emergency card draw for post Master Core. I think that this is 2 spells essentially that we haven't even considered as spells that are in there. And this is 14, 15, 16. So we have 3 cuts that we've got to make in this deck. This is good card, and this is not for what we're looking for. This is a discard, draw, airy. It mattered when we were caring about non-creature spell cards, but it doesn't matter as much. So coming back to where we're at, Hex Gold Slash is for early removal, and Exuberant Fuselings and Sawblade Scamps for early board presence. Axiom Engravers to slow down and control so that we can get to the 3 mana spot for all of these really, really good blockers, really, really good damage producers, really, really good support creatures to carry these types of bodies over the top and all the way in. We don't have like extra Furnace Striders, but we do have these 3 Chimney Rabbles, this Jace, and this Argentum Masticore. And the cards that support that are available, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different draws and a pseudo draw, something that will allow us to hold on to a card and play a card that's just been exiled, as opposed to vice versa. I don't know. I wouldn't lose a Furnace Strider for a Magmatic Sprinter. I can't lose any of these, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bodies below 2-drop spot. I can't lose any of those. Ichorplate Golems are great, and they do more of like a board. They're almost like an Anthem card, right? Like a board pump for the entire board here. And Raptors help control games. Chimney Rabbles help to deliver damage. Jace comes in and is just damn near impossible to kill, along with Masticore doing the same kind of thing. We got to be careful with our Masticore. The other option would be we bring in the Serum Core Chimera and something like the Prologue to Pheresis or the Aspirant's Ascent, right? So these two come back in, and Masticore and like Strider go out as an attempt to lower the curve and an attempt to not make us dependent on card draw, because this card draw feature isn't built into enough cards. I mean, if I had like 2 more Experimental Auguries, this would be perfect, as opposed to Blazing Crescendos. The Trawler Drake can be great. It could also be terrible. With us cutting so many of our non-creature spells, I kind of feel like the Trawler Drake it has such good synergy here. I can't cut these bodies, unfortunately. These are my least exciting ones, but I can't cut them. Ugh. I think I like it better that way. 17 creatures is great. 2.8 is not. In this format, you really want to be closer to 2.5 over anything else. Looks pretty good. I think we try this out. I think we actually test this out a few times to see if how often do we get stuck in the Masticore side of things. I think that's the biggest fear that I've got, is just the lack of card draw to come in and support what's going on. I could cut a Chimney Rabble for a Prologue to Pheresis. That would help me draw a card and replace it, as well as... it just kind of replaces itself, though, doesn't it? Yeah, I just don't have the card draw built into this that I wish I did. Okay, so this is how I test the deck. I usually give it a name, right? Let's give it a name. What do we call our deck here? we have got our Jace's Mastercore, right? And that's fine. And we're going to click Add to Deck. We go to the deck, and what we're going to do is we're going to test out to see if there's some hidden synergies or if there's just some hidden weaknesses in the deck, right? So if we click Edit, we're going to first turn our deck into a standard deck, not a limited deck. And what that's going to do is change things like, what the land count is, what the playable cards are. It's also going to, unfortunately, make all these cards sideboard cards, which get in the way, right? Then the next thing you want to do is you want to look at this stuff and say, like, if I was to play, more of these, how many lands would I be out there? So this is 10, 22, 23, 24, right? That's a little heavier than what we were trying to play in there. We were playing 16 instead of 17 lands. So we're just going to go to 23 total lands. Oh, that says 22. My bad. We'll go with 23 lands. We're going to double up on the Jace and the Mastercore because what we're trying to do is see how those cards function, right? We're also going to stick one more copy of some of these in here. And I know how Furnace Strider works, but I want to see how the Fuseling and the Scamp work alongside some of these other cards that's in here. I think I know what the Magmatic Sprinter is going to do for me. So, it's not a perfect 2.8 match 1-to-1, but it's pretty close. We were able to, I think we were at like 17 and 8 on the creature count, and that part makes me really happy. I feel like we're going to be able to control the board very, very easily. There's always going to be something that gets onto the board, as well as a few very important spells that will help us. There's not a ton of removal in this deck, but there is a lot of control in this deck. And so I think like Jace gives us a lot of hidden control that's going on. This is a ton of removal. It's just at the late stages of it. So let's just try to play this against the robot and see what this thing feels like as we play it. So we'll go to find a match. We'll go to bot match, and we will try Jace's Mastercore here. And we're feeling pretty good about how this draft was. We got that Jace copy. We really, really wanted that Jace copy. We got the Mastercore. We got the Serum Core Chimera. And we were able to kind of put together what looks to me like a deck that should be able to easily get to the 3-win line of things. Could it get farther? Yeah. Is it guaranteed to get farther? No. After golf practice... hold on. Bad things are happening here. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Oh boy. Okay. All right. We're gonna say keep just as a flash. We're not gonna go crazy on what do we want to get rid of. We don't have anything to cast at turn 1, so we take our tap land and throw. We could theoretically have thrown this out, slash that guy, but yeah. Instead, we're going to throw this Axiom Engraver. My bad. My friggin' bad. Let's go for mana efficiency. We should be able to block something here. Thought about doing it more, but I decided at the last second not to. Hexcold Slash does 2 damage. Ichor Plate Golem makes everything with Ichor stronger. We could do the Ichor Plate Golem here. We could do the Hex Gold Slash here, just to prevent the most amount of damage possible. Unfortunately, that's one of the things we have to do. What's really nice now is our Raptor is much stronger than she was before. Next turn, we're going to say no on the attack, so we're still playing defense here. Next turn, if we can grab another mana, we'd have a Mastercore opportunity with a Vivid Surgeon's Insight ×2 to back it up, but we didn't get the mana. So that's off the table. I do like this though. Comes in with an extra foil counter on it and gets the +1. Really like this was the synergies we were hoping for, right? 3/3 should be able to block the 2/3 without any concern. The 2/3 should be able to block one of the other 1/1s. We'd only be letting a couple damage by should we choose to attack at this point. So why not? There's just no reason to hold that back. Next turn, we can put out their Axiom Engraver. And there's that card. So, interesting. We can cast a Vivid Surgeon's Insight next turn, and we can throw our Mastercore out this turn. And I think that that's ideal, right? When we've got the kind of mana it takes to keep it alive. The other thing is the Vivid Surgeon's Insight will keep making these stronger as we go. So let's do it. Whoa. Click next. Would still like to play a little bit of defense on some cards, but now that we've got this out there, okay. Okay, so we're going to lose the Engraver. We're going to destroy... Why can't I destroy this? When you discard a card this way, destroy a non-land permanent opposing with mana value equal to or less than the card that you're discarding. Interesting. So we can get rid of that, because otherwise he's going to make a second one. Blazing Crescendo is there. We are casting our Vivid Surgeon's Insight in order to kind of create the world we're looking for. Right? So click next. And attack? Why not? Ooh, that's why not. Okay, so good lesson learned. We don't attack with our Ichor Plate Golem. Ouch, Kibbles. Pass. It's fine, come at us. That's it. The game over. We win. We could still get rid of one of their creatures. You know what I mean? Like, there's tons of things that we can do that's in here. So we're just going to use that to get rid of a guy. We're going to toss one of these out there, and we're going to consider tossing out an Ichor Plate Golem. And the reason is to pump the board. We still have room to go here, right? And that just makes it super fun. Extra one. Yeah, of course we take that action. What would you like to do? Lifelink, Vigilance, Flying. I think that giving this thing Vigilance is probably the best answer. First Strike, Vigilance. Mastercore just does some serious work. So, what do you think? I think we took a beating in the early side of things, and I think we stabilized very quickly, and I think we were able to come back and accomplish what we were looking to accomplish across the board. Skitterfangs, Chimney Rabbles, Axiom Engraver. We have a 2-drop. We're holding on. We have a 3-drop and a 4. We're halfway home with the Mastercore. We're not doing anything on turn 1 because we tossed the tap land. Always remember that. Like, if you're going to have tap lands, you got to really be smart about using them early. Okay. We're definitely not making the same mistake we made on the last game. I see flyers. I want to land. okay. Can still do all the things that he wants to do. I got a land. I'm going to force some damage at them. Sure. We're going to give this guy lifelink. It stabilizes our life total, does some damage to them. Skitterfang just doing good work. Removal spells showing up left and right. What a shocker. What a shocker. Still got 2 oil counters here. Taking 4. Throwing some land. I do think that we're going to do this again, but we're going to do it with Furnace Strider this time. We'll click next. Definitely taking the action. Putting it on here. We're going to call it lifelink. We're also going to put it on there in order to create that. We're going to say all attack. And we're going to see what they do. If they fall for it, yeah, they'll go after the little one. And we're still at 18. And they're down to 11. Skitterfang, Chimney Rabble still having some post-removal spell benefits. Gotta love it. That's fine. My turn. What do you say? Chimney Rabble. I think because they're both down to 1, if we toss this, we reset so much of what's going on the board. So we just say submit 3 in order to just make sure everybody retains their capabilities. We only have 1 mana and we didn't pull a mana out, so that's okay. We would definitely take the action here, toss it onto this guy, give him Death Touch. I shouldn't have attacked that guy on the left. Again, we're learning. Yeah, you're coming in for 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is great. We need 7 to win. Oh god, how would we ever do it if only we had a Chimney Rabble. Wait a minute. We do. That's the best part of the Chimney Raffles. You just don't see it coming until you're dead. We lost. Alright. One more. I haven't cast the Jace yet. We're drawing Master Core 2 out of 3 times in the opening hand, which is a bit of a bummer. We have a Hex Gold Slash. We have a Sawblade Scamp. We're going to get going. Let's just go here, and why not, right? It's going to give us that ping. It's going to give us the oil on there. We're going to get a chance to cast that on the next turn if we can grab oil. I would rather have that on the board, I think, than the golem, but I'm lying. I'd rather have the golem out there. It's fine. Unfortunately, Raptor goes away if I put Golem out, but Golem does more long term. It's okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and slash you. And we would lose in this attack, so we can just activate that capability. This is where having the Raptor would have been better, because the Raptor can still block these creatures without fear. I guess so can he. 2/3, 2/3. Nothing happens. Very, very dangerous. I throw the Masticore, and then we're going to discard the island. That's not going to give us anything. Huh. There wouldn't be a destruction. It would just be a first striker hitting the deck and getting a chance to attack. It feels too early. I hate to do that, but on turn 5 Masticore is a mistake. Okay. Okay. You can attack. Okay, so we're winning the power, like we're winning the game as it stands today. They just give so many removal spells. We're going to take 2 more damage to this. We're going to block this. And then we're going to take 2 more damage to that. And that's going to even it up quite a bit. But we're going to drop our Chimney Rebel on their face. We're going to click next and attack and attack. And that's going to be like threatening lethal with an additional blocker. And the best part of the Chimney Rebel is the haste with the additional. God! What's up with the removal, team? What's up with the removal? Yeah. Go. Fine. No attacks. Submit 1. Goodbye. I lose my Masticore if I don't have a card to display, so I can't cast this, and it's just to remove a 1/1. Not that exciting. I do think that I keep him back to block, and this guy would just die. But I do think I can just attack with that. Let's see what they do. It's fine. It's game over. We definitely take the action. We send our first striker into the air. We say all attack, and we just know that we've got it under control. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. It's a little tricky. It doesn't feel like there's enough to control the early stages, and so us losing, going down to 10 damage, like 10 mana so quick, it can be tricky. What would I change? Let's go Hasty Scamp. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go for it. Getting an oil counter on a creature really helps synergistically later on. I should have definitely dropped the other one. So unfortunately all we're going to do is activate the capability. Boy, we have drawn like all of our Vivisurgence Insights every time we've played. We're going to go with the Raptor. He's a better blocker, and with a double striker that's out there, there's more that we can do on that block. So we're just going to hold off on that and say end turn. We need 2 mana. We don't have it. I don't know what hit him. Skitterfang would give us what? I don't know. Just give us another creature with damage on the board. I'm just going to decline. There's no reason. We'll just pick for 1. Move on. Let him get his 2 damage in. Yeah, we're not going to block that. Yep. Okay. We can do 2 different things on this. We can double spell, which is really good. First thing we're going to do is do the double spell on the Blazing Crescendo, and the reason being is that right there. We now know what we're going to cast on the next turn, which makes it much easier for us to cast our Axiom Engraver, right? So we click next. We're definitely going to take the action now. We're going to stick it there, and we're going to go with the lifelink, and then we're going to say attack with 1. We're not going to utilize the trick because we already have a trick on there, and getting that health back to 20 feels super nice. Being able to drop an oil counter on something that is going to be a good catcher for an attack is just as nice. I'm assuming he's got a trick, and I'm okay with that if he chooses to use it. So we'll do this. There's the trick. Otherwise it's 6 damage though, that our 2 mana just prevented. And that's pretty good, right? Okie dokie. Golem. Because it's Golem now or Golem never. And we need the 5th mana, unfortunately. So we want to keep the proliferate action alive. The only thing I can think of doing is using this, but yeah. We've taken 3 damage on the way back. That's fine. We're gonna decline that action right now, and I think we'll hold off on this just in case he has another trick. He's a better blocker at 2/5. Yeah. Okay, so Furnace Strider puts us on the offense immediately, and I think that that's the right play, especially because we can use the Skitterfang to send it over the top. It's just really, really dangerous, and it's lethal at this point. So, Furnace Strider down, Ichorplate Golem gives a +1 to Furnace Strider. Furnace Strider uses one of his extra oil counters. This guy uses an extra oil counter. And then we click next. This dude says, can I do you something? And we say sure. We're going to use an oil counter here and give you flying. And we click next to attackers, and we click attack. We are now swinging with lethal, and he doesn't have to block it, and we win the game. I think we're ready. Let's get in there. We've made our mistakes. We understand what the heck's going on. We're going to keep the slow lands, I believe. Should we get rid of 1? Okay. I like the Vivisection's Insight. I don't like when there's 2 in my hand, but that won't happen in here. The Trawler Drake definitely attracted a lot of attention as a lightning rod, and the Magmatic Sprinter never showed up to accomplish anything. Although I do think as 3 mana goes, it's a nice end game. What do we get? 2 oil counters on something? Like we can just toss oil counters onto just about anything then and still make it into something positive. Even if we're just putting them on things like the chimney rabble, we're getting like positive kinds of criteria. Even stick them on the master core, and the golems are going to give it positive material. So Trawler Drake hits the deck at 3/3 if there's a golem on the deck. It scares me. It scares me to be that slow. And I just don't think that we're going to need the Master Core around forever. I'm okay losing it. As opposed to losing mana at some point, like when we need it to stay on curve. Especially because we just don't have enough of the kinds of like guys that create the curve out. Not until we get to the Raptors do we really have a good blocker. This is an okay blocker for the 2-drop slot. This is a great blocker for the 2-drop slot. But that's it. You know, and then the Gixian Raptors are good blockers. Jace is a good blocker. So, okay, he's a good blocker too. Okay. You got me thinking. This would be the other 2-drop to drop in hopes of making sure that we don't stay mana locked down here at the bottom. But we would be losing a sprinter, and I don't think that we have to worry about where those 2 counters are going to go. I feel like we've got targets below and targets above that all look good. I think we play. Let's go. Game 1. All right. We are keeping. We have 2 mana hand here, but we do have some early interaction in the Hesgold Slash, the ability to drop down this card without it being too painful, and a good blocker with the Axiom Engraver. I can even use the Blazing Crescendo to prevent being run over. So 2 Axiom Engravers makes the decision to keep even stronger. We need some blue mana at some point here. I think slashing the Skitterfang is the right answer. Right? Just get out of there now before you cause major issues. Toss in another Axiom Engraver. Which one of these cards would you want to clean through? Probably not. So we'll just take the 1 damage. Go from there. We just have the 1 card to look at so far. And it's turn 4 and we did nothing on there. Putting a Blazing Crescendo on one of the guys pushes some damage. It also gives us an extra card to look at. We'd only have 1 right now, but maybe that card could be a mana. So we're going to take the opportunity to get after the miss the mana drop here. And we're not super concerned about what's going to happen on the crackback, even if they've got Furnace Strider. Although black, white, they don't have that. Okay, so we did get to the 4 column. slot, and the Chimney Rabble is going to make life pretty difficult on them. And so we're going to drop a Chimney Rabble on their ass. We're going to go wide, click next, and since there's nothing that we're worried about here, we're going to attack and swing for 5. It'll put him at 9. If we can get one more mana. How dare you? Not my 1/1. How dare you? My 1/1! You gotta love when they burn a card like that on nothing. I mean, essentially. Yeah, that's what they do. We thought that was coming. We didn't pick up the mana, and we have really been mana locked. We have 4 total mana, and only a 2-drop, or a 3-drop, or a 3-drop. And let's just frustrate them. I think we just keep whittling them down, keep the pressure on them. Light-bellied rat, probably not enough. We just toss the Skitterfang. Go next. Take the action. Go over the top. And it's game over. That was too easy. That was easier than the bot matches. For gosh sake. They took 2 turns off. I don't know what the heck happened. We cast a total of 4 mana's worth of stuff, and there was an opportunity to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, you know, you used less than half your mana that was capable. I'm not sure what you were hoping for, but it wasn't going to work. Yes! We're off the floor. Moving on up. Jace's Mastercore. What's the mail say? Next game. Gotta like how the deck performed there. Axiom Engravers are way better than people give credit for. I know they don't look like the best. They're not bad. The mana's here. The board presence is not. In fact, we don't have anything hitting the board until turn 4. Oof. What do we do? It's a 3-mana keep in hopes that the Hexgold Slash can keep them from just jumping down our throat. This is so beautiful. Love that. Okay, it's a great start. Okay. Decline. So the theory is Magmatic Sprinter jumps in, drops 2 on the Skitterfang. Skitterfang pops 1 over on Magmatic Sprinter. Sprinter flies over the top. I'm just wary. There's no reason. I think it's 1 damage. Right? Right. New strat here. We could Chimney Rabble, attack for 3, give ourselves some board presence, even if we end up with a removal spell here. And I'll attack. So when you see an oil and a prologue to Pheresis to go along with a Hexgold Slash, you start to think Serum Core Chimera, right? I mean, that's what we were looking at when we were there. But now what we're seeing is all over the board, right? All over the board. And it doesn't make sense. Why would you take out the 1/1 instead of the 3/3? Like, is the 1 damage really worth it? I don't know. Some of the plays here are make questions in my mind. It's a tap land, unfortunately, but we still have 4 that we can deal with here. What do we want to do? We could toss the Magmatic Sprinter out, throw the 2 oil onto the chimney rabble, which will seem strange to a teammate. Magmatic Sprinter will get a chance to attack, will be swinging for 5. Someone will get by. It'll probably be the Sprinter will get by. And then that will leave us with the Hex Gold Slash to finish off the Annex Sentry, right? I think that's our answer. So Magmatic Sprinter, weirdly dropping the oil counters here, strangely enough. Clicking next, going all attack, seeing what our blocks look like, slashing. Just get that blocker out of there, right? I'm okay with all that because it just takes out their best blocker. It's now they've got a second best blocker. They're doing everything they can to sneak in these oil count or these toxic creatures, and I didn't like the idea of having to defend against a toxic attacker. So we are very, very happy with that. Next thing we could do is kind of a fun trick. We can do the Blazing Crescendo at instant speed. And so we can attack in with the Chimney Rabble and give him a little bit of extra juice. It won't make it to the finish. I'm not sure what it would do for us except get us those cards. Or we can put out the Vivisurgent's Insight in order to get the 3 extra card advantage that we'd be looking for. I'm thinking both of those are better than just tossing the Axiom Engraver out right now. So I think let's go with next, I'll attack. Click next. We got 5 total mana to spend here. Since he didn't block, let's punish him for that. Okay. That extra 3 damage gives him 6 damage here. Gives us an extra card to function off of. We can totally cast this just as a way to get an extra card in our hand. And what we're going to want is offense at this point. We could pick the in the air offense to not worry about the blocker. We could pick the Ichor Plate Golem to try to boost the availability of the 2 little guys. But I think that at this point in the deck, this guy's going to hit for 6. That'll be down to 8. I think that this will put more pressure on it than anything. Yeah, we'll do this. Submit is fine, and we'll attack, and we'll do some serious damage there. Your Axiom Engraver, my friend. Tis alright. Alright, so that puts us at 6 mana, which means we could throw the Rabble out. All attack. Offer the trade. Goes down to 5. We catch our way back up. We're making life tough. Excellent. Excellent card. Equip. So good. Okay. So, if we all attacked right here, we would lose the Chimney Rabble and sneak in 2 more damage. I don't think that by itself is the powerful kind of attack. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather submit 1, and I'd rather consider what are my choices here. The hasty Scamp is kind of cool because it could pick up a damage or 2 if I end up casting a spell on the next turn. This guy's going to hit me, and he's going to end up getting 2 cards, right? Exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you can play those cards. He's also going to hit me for 3. If he does that, though, it's game over. So I'm not actually that worried about the attack on the way back in. I can't block him. whatsoever either. So I think we just throw Scamp and get the extra damage out, right? We'll lose the Rabble. We'll get 2 damage, make it 3 in there, and that will leave him with 2 left to go. I think that's the right way to go. Since we can't block you, we might as well tap you. Right? There is a play here that he's got in his mind that's going to work. I just don't know what it is. Why would you need the 2 red? Are you going to get health? Yep. That's good. Okay, so that puts us in a bit of a reset, right? Because we are now, I don't want to say in a tough spot, but doing that attack again doesn't quite accomplish anything unless we can draw the kind of card necessary to get rid of something along this road. Specifically, those somethings. That is one of those things. So we could pop this. We have a total of 7 mana sitting on the sidelines. This would be 2, which would give us 5, right? So if I pop this, I lose 2, 3, 4. That gives me 3 more mana, and that might be enough to do something cool here. So I think we do it. That was not it. An all-out attack from 2 of these guys means one of those is going away, but another one is not. I think a single attack with an Axiom Engraver is the better answer. Right? Yeah. We need the Sawblade Scamp to get an opportunity anyway. Go away. I think my Mere Convert can block his Axiom Engraver. Yeah. This just sucks. Too much flood. It's not the end of the world here, but yeah. Yeah. You know what would be fun? To get a Jace. How many cards do you have left? Come on, Jace me. Jace me. If we pull our Jace, we can cast him for full value, and then we can go 15 down. We could even just do the -3 on the Axiom Engraver, take the damage full on. I got the Jace! Okay, so what do we do here? We cast the Jace for full value, right? We pop a -3 to get it to go +1. We put it on the Cacophony Scamp, right? We take the free card. That's fine. So the goal here is just keep Jace alive, right? So we click Next, and we click No Attacks, and we go End Turn. And the reason is we can now mill him for 18 and end the game. Oh man, Resolve is fine. Let's see which way he goes. That's pretty smart. We won't be able to do the mill strat the way I wanted to. Smart. Resolve. Just lose the 1/1, I think, right? Oh, I can't. I can't block it. So, 'tis over. The Jace did not work. It bought us a turn, but it didn't work. Oh my gosh, and Ovika. Everything got out of control here. And all we did was draw lands, so this is a good game, unfortunately, but it's over. Yeah, I mean, just more lands, like, I'll attack, it's worthless. We're just gonna concede. We can't, we're dead. We didn't draw enough. We got so close, but oh my god. The Jace just couldn't handle the... Too many things went perfect for them, right? Like, oh, this is red, I've got the thing that just negates red. Oh, like, you know, you need to stabilize, I got the card that keeps you from being stabilized. Oh, like, it's just like perfect answer to everything we did. It happens. It happens. Moving on up. 3 lands, 1 Trawler Drake, 1 Axiom Engraver. I think it's a keep. We're going to try to go Autonomous Furnace first. Axiom Engraver on turn 2. Hopefully we can draw a land to get Chimney Rabble out and get some early attacking going on. But neither here nor there. Should we convert? No. I think if we're going to draw a remove a spell out of them, something like a Whispers of the Dross or something, it would be better be done on our Mirror Convert, who doesn't really fit in the rest of our strategy, as opposed to the Axiom Engraver, who has a lot more to do after this initial threat. Mono white. Not too many mono white drafts going on these days. Pretty cool stuff. 4 total mana gives us a Chimney Rabble on the deck now. Three damage is better than 4, or we could just toss in the Raptor or the Trawler Drake. So I think we're going to end up with a Trawler Drake out because earlier is better. Let's see what happens. They get scared about Toxic a lot, and we end up getting sometimes some heads up. We don't have a target for anything. And we don't have anything to worry about as far as attacking is concerned. So Trawler Drake hits the deck on the early side of things, and we move on. Okay. We got the 2 red to allow us to accomplish this or this. Very curious to see which one he takes. Okay, if you say so. Probably... I probably want to just attack. Because we'll just get rid of it now. It's got Toxic just to scare him. But it just gives us one more chance to kind of flex on him. And it doesn't give him an opportunity to pump. Right? Now we know what we're up against. Right. I do like the idea of a Chimney Rabble hitting the deck now, but I also like the idea of having a Gitaxian Raptor up there. Which seem to be fine. I do think, though, that we should probably consider removing our Insight and staying on target with lands. I think we'll do that. We have, unfortunately, a Reacher that will hurt us. And that's just a no attack situation right there, unfortunately. So a quick end turn. I think we attack with the Raptor on the next turn to try to see if Copper Longlegs gets in the way. Why? Why? So Malira can save a creature on their end of the case. I would be very happy to trade out a Chimney Rabble for any of the things that I see here. but an Gitaxian Raptor attack also kind of creates that sort of capability of being able to trade out. 4 total mana. I think we do the Blazing Crescendo attack first. So we attack here. I think we attack with both of those. Boy, that works out in our advantage if this works out in our advantage if we can draw a mana on the next turn. So we're going to end right there. We would try to stop their Slaughter Singer from getting in. I would almost Mirror Convert. Oh, actually, I can do the Furnace Strider. What am I thinking? It's just going to cost me 2 life. Yeah, that's going to happen. +2 and gain flying. I am okay with this. We're going to take some damage. But the crackback is going to be a lot bigger than they expect. Okay. Let's go. Do like a Tyvar stand on Malira, prevent her from getting killed, negate the Forest Strider or the Furnace Strider's attack. We'd be able to swing in for 4 pretty effectively. Okay with this too. My turn. Okay. So, we're set up to really continually push this fight at this point. We take the opportunity right now to push this pretty hard here, especially considering how we could theoretically lose an opportunity to do this. Next to combat attack. Cancel. No. Next. Attack, attack, attack. Yeah. Um, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sure. Swinging for lethal on the next turn. Anic Sentry is going to grab like a Trawler Drake or a Gixian Raptor when it gets cast. The reason why we'd still be swinging for lethal is because of the Chimney Rabble. We would be able to cast once. Only once. If we get a 2 mana like board pump, we can definitely win the game. Mm-hmm. Yep. Saw that coming. Okay. How very, very interesting. What would help here? Icar's gonna get by. So it'd be 2 damage. Anix isn't going to get by. Malira could get by. We don't care about Trawler Drake. It does, but it keeps the Slaughter Singer from attacking, and I think we have to deal with that. If I threw a Chimney Rabble out now and attacked, they would just Annex Sentry it, right? There's just nothing there. So we'll just click next to combat. This is a bit of a pickle. Nice. He's got much better defense than he has offense at this point. And so in this situation right here, he's trying to do the math and saying, like, if I take the attack opportunity now, what do I gain versus what do I lose? If he can't take the opportunity to take the attack right now, he's got to be thinking, how do I survive beyond just one extra turn and set myself up to win the game? Neither of those are very apparent so far. That's a pretty good defense, actually. It'll create the kind of flyer defense that could definitely cause a problem. My Chimney Rebels, on the other hand, give me an opportunity to catch a lot of those little guys before they become a major issue along the way. So, what's cool about this is these are 4, and this is 5, 6, so not much happening there. I do think we are going to cast a Chimney Rabble in order to create some defense. It's 2 bodies. We're going to toss our Furnace Strider in the air. And we're going to attack with both. The reason we would attack with both is because they're either going to trade out and keep the damage low, and the 2 damage will definitely come into play, or they're going to trade against the Trawler Drake, in which case the extra damage will come into play, allowing a lot more opportunity for us to consider a lethal along the way. So we click next, we go, yeah, definitely. Put it on there. We're going to go with flying. We're going to go with next. If I just do the Furnace Strider, the only negative side is I'm still 2 hits away from lethal. I'm only 1 hit away from lethal if I can pass any kind of pump spell onto this. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm still tossing things in the air next time, my friend. Just letting you know. You're down to 3. Okay. That will definitely help you survive longer. Not an insanely longer period of time, but it will be longer. Experimental Augury gives everybody a pump And Chimney Rabble gives the board a pump. I think we do the Augury first, and then take the 2 mana hit and drop that off later. What is it that we were looking for? A Hexgold Slash to take the wings out in order to make the Furnace Strider attack just a mandatory swap out. I think that's better answer. What do you think? Instead of losing the 2/1 convert, we toss a couple extra stuff onto the Skitterfang, right? Yeah, we don't need any more on the Skitterfang. It's just not possible. We gotta go Chimney Rebel. That's fine. We gotta continue the wide board state here, and we gotta just watch out for the yeah, definitely. We're gonna take this action, and we're gonna throw it right here, and we're gonna give it life gain. And we're going to remove some of these threats because otherwise I'm just waiting for a Furnace Blast like to come in and wipe me out. And I just can't sit around doing that. So if we do the lifelink here, right, and we attack with everybody, we're also going to do this, and we're going to untap you. What does it do again? Target creature control gains haste until the end of turn, so we'll just stick that on there as just an extra 1 to go. And what that's going to do is that's going to force us to lose quite a few creatures, and for him to lose quite a few creatures. And I think, can we get wrapped up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have 1 extra. But how much of this is trade? 1, 2, 3, 4. What would we lose versus what would we gain? He can't let much go by. I think we do it. Math. Yeah. I'm not waiting around for that blast. I mean, we're dead otherwise. So we just don't know what the. I guess he doesn't have red. We didn't necessarily need to worry about the blast, but it feels to me like too much is going to go against us if we continue to wait. And we can continue to widen up faster than he can. Two, 3, 4, 5. He's only threatening 5. Yeah. Yeah. Good trades for us. It's okay. Axiom, he takes 2. He loses a few creatures. Well. I'm probably going to lose 1 body more than him because this is 2, 3 lost. That's fine. I get to keep my Skitterfang? Oh, that was sexy. 4, 5, 6, 7. Good game. That was amazing. I didn't see that. a minute. He messed up. He messed up. You messed up. You should have attacked with the Slaughter Singer. You done messed up. Wow. That's just more damage that gets in the way. We'll stick, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, we're definitely taking that action. We've got 2 flyers that get locked up, but we don't care. So we just put, like, Death Touch on this guy all the time. 3 attackers, we win. We should not have won. We are short 2, and he didn't attack with the Slaughter Singer. Just too much math. The Basilica Shepherd crackback with the Melira was a beautiful play. I am so impressed. But you're out of mana. There's nothing you can do about this. You didn't expect the double return crackback. I think it's over. I should have lost. He lost instead. Game 2. Nothing difficult about this game. Nothing difficult at all. Claiming it. Moving on up. Okay, so we wanted to average 3 wins, right? That's what our goal was. We wanted to get 3 cards that were playable in order to get our 4th pack and make it 4 cards that were playable for 750. That's a better return on investment if we would have gotten 0. Instead, we got the value out. We got our 3 playable cards that we really wanted to use. And so far, we've got a good chance at actually getting back a lot of the gems that were spent. So we're pretty happy. 2 mana hand, man. How many times have I looked at a 2 mana hand and said no? 42% chance of getting it. The opponent gets a chance to go first, so we're on the draw, so we're going to keep it and keep our card advantage. Ah, we're so pretty. We've got a nice controlling board state right here, going up against a nice controlling board state over there. It looks a little like this. Uh-oh. I'm going to hold on to the mana one more time. Chrome Kitty. Deck. Tap something. Don't care. It's okay. Not the highest value for your Chrome Prowler. Familiar much? My man wanted to do a boom. Yeah. Okay. Very happy with that. Some things we could do here. We could cast our Jace for the full value and just catch the Chrome Kitty on the swing and do a trade with the Raptor, or we could catch the Serum Core Chimera on a trade. I think that we go with Jace for full value. We plus Jace on the Kitty Cat, and then we click next. We click no attack, and we click end turn. We're trying to protect our Jace from taking too much damage here. And if he wants to swing in with the Serum Core Chimera, I'd be more than happy to trade with the Raptor. Currently, the current card count here is 29, I believe. Alright, 29. I wish this was somewhere else. Let's get rid of opponent's deck and take a look again. Yeah, 29. right? My man likes Ichor. And when people start casting spells, we're going to get some Ichor that's on here. Okay. Casting those spells. I'm seeing that Ichor. Alright, so knowing that they're going to do a lot of frustrating spells like that, right? Is it still worth it for us to plus the Jace, -2 the Assault, and throw the Raptor out to cover the ground? This guy's going to get +2/+2, and I just don't think we can save Jace, right? The other opportunity would be for us to throw out a Chimney Rabble out here and -3 the Flyer. And what that's going to do is make it very painful for them to trade across the board. I think that's a better fit for what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're going to go with this. We're going to go here, and we're still going to go after this like that. And if he chooses to attack with either of those, we have no problems trading out our Chimney Rabble across the board. If I attack in with the Chimney Rabble, there's no guarantee that they're going to block, and it's just a goodbye for Jace. I would rather hold Jace and use my Chimney Rabble as a defense more than an offense, right? So I'm expecting the Cackler to come directly for the Jace, and I'm expecting the Chrome Kitty to come directly for the Jace. I can let the Jace take a little bit of damage and do some blocking that's on there. Can't do another plus, so that puts him at, 12, right? 12 isn't huge. Would another Chimney Rabble course of this give me an extra plus? Are you kidding me? Blue Sun's Twilight? What? Dude, what did you do? We're dead. We are dead. There's just nothing I can do. The best I can do is just take the hits here. Move on. Resolve. Okay. What would help? How very interesting. What would help? What would help? What would help? We're going to just get our teeth kicked in on this turn. No more Blue Sun's Twilights. Shit. Oh my god, Tamiyo's Mobilizer. What a deck, man. What a draw on a what a deck. Like, what a crazy draw on this deck. I wouldn't have looked at this and said, oh, he's got me. But damn, Gina. Just damn. We're trading with something. I would rather trade with the Cackler. Right? 4/4 Trampler. I'd rather trade there. Resolve. We got 2. Yeah, I see it. We can chump our kitten. And we're going to let these 6, 7, 8 get through. Is that right? And we can try to do something there. 2 blocks. Activate. Activate. Okay. My turn. We need to get wide. We need to get wide now. Unfortunately, this is our only plan. And an Ichor Plate Golem is good. A trick. How would I use a trick? Not on this turn. If I could trade Raptor for Serum Core Chimera, I could trade Rabble for Rabble. I could chump Prowler and just take 3. Does a trick do me more good? Or does a golem do me more good? If it pop a golem, Raptor goes up 1, but nothing else has anything here. But Skitterfang comes in stronger, so we're taking golem. Yeah, I can't do that. He didn't discard again. So he's feeling pretty confident. As he should. As he should. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I've seen enough. I unfortunately got handled in a way that I had not expected. So, okay, 2 and 2. Sad. One more win gets us 100 gems. Let's go for it. I wouldn't in any way, shape, or form say that this was a mistake, but these guys are really, really good at drafting these decks now. So we are walking into some tough, tough situations. Nothing on the board until turn 3 means this is a no keep, unfortunately. We're going to have to get rid of you. This was my fear more than anything, was that we were going to have a lot of hands where there just wasn't enough to do. Scamp buys us some time. Lots of 3 drops. Strider's just too far away for us to worry about today. Ichor Plate Golem needs 1 more mana to get on the board. So does Jace the Perfected Mind. I would like the idea of a Jace to be great, but damn, dude, everyone's had answers for Jace. Like, if you can't throw a Planeswalker out there every now and again and hit him on the side and win you a game, what good is it? So far, we've won 1 game because the deck was good. We lost 2 games because the opponent was great. And we won 1 game because the opponent made a mistake. They should have been able to attack in. So, this could be a freebie, which happens. Make me sad. Yeah, no. Let's go. We out of here. It gives us something to do on turn 2, which is nice. It gives Sawblade Scamp something to do on turn 3, which is nice. And it gives us an opportunity to not look so bad on the draw. Clarochimochi. 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 Oh, that's cute. Okay with that. We got that. We're going to go with that. And we're going to click next. And we're going to say all attack. See how he's feeling. Yeah, we're putting the damage on him anyway. Okay, the reason why that's important is because Golem comes down and gives a +1/+1 to Sawblade Scamp, um, suddenly making him a better attacker. It just keeps the turn from getting in the way. I don't think that the Hex Gold Slash against the Toon Mover is the best answer, but if he does come down with a decent toxic sized creature, I could change my mind just a little bit. I'm not. Well, I changed my mind. I don't want to take any more toxic damage. I don't want to give him back a 2-drop on the way back to squeeze in 1. Nothing fits in that category. Tossing the Golem out there is going to make the Golem a... like, see how this spell is being held up? There's a negate. The negate against my spell would have been a lot worse. This is fine. So, he throws the Augury out there. He gets the card draw. He proliferates me for 1. It definitely sees some passive blue toxic theme going so far, but that doesn't mean that that's what it is, right? And we're going to leave the 2 mana open in order to see what happens next. Okay, that I can live with. Let's go with the Ichor Plate Golem down now. That makes the Sawblade Scamp a... Damn. Knew it! I knew it! We'll just click next. And we'll click no attacks. We'll click enter. I told you he had control. Yeah. It's fine. That's okay too. This is as much of a control deck as you can build. Puts me up to 4, which kind of puts us even, right? Like, he's at 14 life, and I'm there. All that's cool, except I would really, really, really like to get the Ichor Plate going down. This guy just makes me wait through each card to cast to make it just a little bit worse. He's got 2 Surgical Bays, so he's super into his card draw. He's got a 3rd Forest color, which makes me think that we might be staring down the barrel of a bomb at the end. Something that would be more toxic, like the other side of things. And now we're going to go to combat. You can't suck it. Okay, so I'm expecting a barrage of cards to hit me now that really drive me crazy. That's okay. We've got a good blocker. Damn. Keep the Scamp there to block the Crawling Chorus. Use the Jace to get rid of the Slaughter Singer's offense capability. And save time for 1 more mana to hit. We're at 5. That would give us a chance to double do on the next. Unfortunately, Jace is going to come in on the weak side of things. Which is just what we're going to have to deal with. We can do that. Click next and click no attacks and click enter, and what that's going to do is take some shenanigans away, not all shenanigans, but some shenanigans away, right? We've got a green-ish, more like a bluish control-y with some green splashed in there. It's kind of a cool deck if you ask me. He should definitely swap out Crawling Course for Sawblade Scamp. I'll take that. Solve. Get proliferated. You don't need any mana. What'd you get? Card. And one more card to go. Planar Disruption allows him to throw that extra on there. And I think that's okay by me. It's okay. We got the mana that we were looking for. We can throw out this, right? And this. Toss that onto there. Go to here. We can get rid of you on your offensive capability. We can take the action, pop it onto there, give them flying? Go all attack. Knock it down. Come back to the hand. See what we're dealing with now. He's got 4 damage. I've got the capability of doing that again. I would hope that I draw something else that I can dual cast. Maybe... yeah, I'm just gonna do that. It's getting dangerous. Okie dokie. We are going to... oh, how many cards has he got? 22? And I can't get him up there. But I could draw a card. I think we're just going to plus, though. It's like one of the best things we can accomplish here. We're going to do the exact same thing all over again. But... what happened? We got tapped, right? By a card? Are we thinking he's going to tap us again? No, but he'll be a 2 for 2. And that won't work. Yeah, I think we're going to go with some lifelink on this. And we're going to keep him out. I want to see. Yeah. You can't. Okay. I think it's a good trade. Right? I think it's a good trade. Let's draw. I need lethal, like, right now, and I don't have it. Okay. Nothing I could do. I just couldn't get past it. I needed a better draw at some point, and I just kept playing in the small ball range. So, unfortunately, we die at 2, and that happens, you know? Um, that still gives us 200 gems, and we got the bonus pack out of it. So we're taking the 2 packs, and we're going to open them up, and we're going to see what a total of 500 gems spent, right, is going to equal, and it's going to equal a wild card. It's going to equal a Red Sun's Twilight. It's going to equal the dial getting spun some more, which is always fun. And a Microsynth Gardens, which actually has been a card that I wanted really, really badly. And I'll show you why. So, there you go. We come out in pretty good shape. We spent 500 gems, roughly. But we got ourselves 5 or 6 rare cards out of that. And that's better than if we would have gone just straight for packs with it. We're holding on to our gold here because I do think that we're going to get an opportunity to get some of this new set with some of that gold stuff. So there you go. That's the stream. We didn't do anything here in the green and black. We tried to stay in the red and blue. Red and blue is pretty good overall. I'll show you what I wanted to do with the Microsynth Gardens, and it has to do with these forges over here. So I was looking at CGB, who was trying to take a new take on what was going on with the red, mono red, hoping that this is the last that mono red owns of the entire world. So if this is the last that mono red opens up, the Microsynth Gardens and the Urabask Forge start to have some really neat synergy if you can, you know, consider that this Microsynth Garden is only going to be useful in these random ones on 4, 5, 6, plus another 7 is 13, 14, 15, 16 cards out of your 40 playable that are currently in the deck right now. We'd come down to here and say out of still 40 playable. So less than half of our cards can use the Microsynth Gardens. That can become a problem. But being able to duplicate an Urabask Forge, which is what happens here, is a bigger problem for the opponent. And so I'm more willing to toss a couple of these guys in here. You can clean through a mana to make it red, but that's not going to do us any good. Anyway, I didn't have quite as many squee, so I threw the Forge, and hit the big shake for CGB is the idea that you're going to go with some more Gold Hounds with the Forge. This is me. Gold Hounds, Forge, and Microsynth Gardens are me. He has got, Ancestral Anger to pump the Monastery Swift Sphere, the Blazing Crescendos to pump the Monastery Swift Sphere, and then the Kamano faces Kakazan as a way to pump the Monastery Swift Sphere when it comes in, or the Phoenix Chick when it comes in. And the idea is the small ball is going to be fast and furious, and they're going to be a lot closer to lethal than they think. The reason why the Forge I thought was a good fit, along with the Gold Hounds, are you can do a turn 2 Forge. You can go 1 red mana down, 1 Gold Hand down, or Gold Hound down. Second turn, 2 mana down, Gold Hound becomes sacrificable for 1 mana, Urabask Forge hitting the deck on turn 2. Turn 3, on 1 more mana down, Microsynth Gardens needs 3 mana. 3 mana becomes a copy of the Urabask Forge. So you can be their worst nightmare. And, the rest is just survival at that point. You just sit back and survive using your burn spells against their creatures as opposed to face. So, kind of cool. We can do 1 game with it. I don't think red is going to get us any closer to... Oops. I'm not taking that into ranked. Pump Forge. It's a really long stream. I guess that's what happens with quick drafts, though. Nothing quick about my quick draft. Okay. We don't have the forge, so we would throw the Kamanos faces Kakasan down. I don't mind this being a 2/2 either. Like, that's pretty smart. So, hey, get a shot. You got one of those. We gonna kill it. Don't worry. Liking it. Not the mono red deck we thought. It's a better defender. And if you're not going to be facing a slew of attackers, I'm happier with that thing getting the +1 on it than any. Sure. Get the freebie. Fine with that. Oops. So much going on. It's so loud in here. What is going on? All right. Overall score. I'm winning and he's not. Bye. Let's do it. Reckless Impulse. Whoa! Super fun. Next turn, we're throwing Gardens and Forge. Following turn, we're copying Forge. Switching back to defense. This is known. This is expected. Let's go. Got some more of those? I think you're going to want to make the Devils. So, why did we want the Microsynth Gardens? You ask good questions. I provide answers. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hey. Look at that. Let's see what happens. He's trying to think. Was there a hesitation there? Does he have a pump spell? What the hell's going on? How does he have so much land? Is this mono red? It doesn't feel like mono red. Like, he's got questions. That's all I'm saying. He's got questions. And the answer is scoop. The reason why Covert Go Blue likes this is because of the until your next turn you may play that card feature that is built into the Reckless Impulse, and it is built into the Blazing Crescendo as a board pump. By pushing that into this, you create the kind of card draw that allows you to do fun stuff like what you just witnessed with a board wipe coming into effect, and we still have more creatures on the board than he does at this moment. He's just roping us. I don't think he's actually thinking, should I cast my one card that I'm going to throw? So we're just going to let his head explode here in 3, 2, 31, 32. I forgot there was a timeout. But this is cheesy stuff, right? Like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to be this guy who is essentially unwilling to play when they're losing, only willing to play when they're winning. That is about as petty as it gets. Amy the Amazonian? Maybe? Cloud Strafe. Sure. Let's do it. Let's go! Threatening. You're so bitter. Your go. Hello. Don't be so bitter. Ew, why is she so watery? Yeah. Tink, 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 tink. You're an addict. You've got the... I purchased the thing early. I've gotten down the battle pass to level way too many. Like, you're a degenerate. It's too early in the day to be playing this game. This is a degenerate move, even for a degenerate. Why would you do such things? Yay. Sore loser. Monumental Facade. Another good land that goes in with oil decks. This is the problem with the game. Like, every time you try to walk away, there's just like one more thing that you can do. Ouch. Alright, we gotta get back to work. What are we doing? Ramp to 1. It's kind of neat. The idea being that you do more rampy kinds of things to get up to Solpum, and then use things like Defiler and All Be One, Titania's command. I'm not so sure. I guess there's oil, 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 and proliferate, and counters, and proliferate. This is doubling the burn, and this is a lot of All Be One. We probably could do that. We definitely have more of the Titania's command, but I'm not so sure. I feel like ramping to 6 is like a must-go. What if I dropped the oil aspect of it and the green? We're going to ramp with red, which is one of my more favorite ramp combos to get through. Mono red ramp. Okay. Goldhounds are good, especially if we're going to put some forges in here. Sticky figures can be good. Fable the Mirror Breaker is great. So is the Face Breaker. Atsushi helps ramp all the way through, and Riverdeer's Requisitioners die to become mana. Glittering Stockpile is a nice little leapfrog jump. Big score. Adds additional cost. You have to discard a card, and then you draw 2 and create 2 treasure tokens. So if you can get to 4, you're at 6. I do think we need at least 2 copies of All Will Be One. I wish I knew if Solphum belongs in here or not. I don't think she... Well, she kind of does, because All Will Be One will create the kind of counters that go up. Oh. That's why. Urbask's Forge. Gotta get that oil. Oh. Alright, we do have some counters that come in here. We do gain some counters from a reservoir every now and again. If you're from Flesh, drops a few counters onto things, which is good. And Magmatic Sprinter drops things like oil counters onto people, and so does Furnace Strider, right? Um, Mage Crusher comes in and with oil counters, and this guy gives a shoot about oil counters. And this guy gets a +1/+0 and gains trample and haste for each 2 mana spent, which makes the Serpent pretty cool because we would be casting it with mostly red, so most of the time it would be a 7/4 haster with red that also shoots out a 2 firebolt. And we're at 3. We are ramping, but what are some things that don't help us? Atsushi makes treasure, and that's great, but that doesn't help us long term. Simian Simulacrum drops 1/1 counters onto things, but that's not going to get us where we will ultimately want to get as far as getting the all will be one down somewhere like turn 4, right? That's the goal here, is to use these types of things 1, 2, 3, 4 to get these kinds of things down on the earlier side of the equation and to make ourselves into a much more lethal threat. The Axiom Engraver helps stabilize. The Churning Reservoir will continually ping as time goes on. The Free from Flesh gets a 2/2, puts 2 oil counters on something. This turns those 2 into a 4 fireball because of the all will be one and the Sulfum. So there's a world where these things are much, much more powerful than they are today. But looking at them today, I feel like I could use a Free from Flesh to keep a Magmatic Sprinter out. I could use a Free from Flesh to add a couple things to the Axiom Engraver. I just think the Axiom Engraver is just a little too slow for this deck. I'm not sure it's going to do what we want it to do. I'm also not so sure that the only removal spells that we see are happening way up here at the top, right? Could live without those. This guy puts oil counters onto things, which is cool. We're not really a Urabrax Forge only kind of deck, but I definitely like the idea of the Magmatic Sprinter with the all will be one and the Furnace Strider. I also think that this is one too many no-colored lands that's involved in all this. And so we've got oil and ramp. Rampy oil. Can we make this work? It's either remove the Churning Reservoir or remove the Gold Hound. Let's try it. I've tried many times to make all will be one work. I've failed many times to make all will be one work. Dude. Sorry. 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 Hello. How could you? Do nothing. Jaboy Whitey. You good? Okay. Okay. We'll just throw the Fable. It'll slow things down. Take a trade with an etching. Everybody's playing the new mono red. Here comes a Phoenix chick. Whoa! Good gracious. Ass is bodacious. We probably don't need two of these. I guess we need two of those. We can put an oil guy down there. We can put a professional face breaker. That won't trade, but this will, and I like that. So we'll drop him as a bit of a guy. Put an oil counter. It's not the same as that counter. So we click next. Click all attack. Get a treasure. Move one step closer. We could spend the treasure right here, right now. I don't hate the idea. Now we've got good blocks and good sort of control. Unfortunately, that was the perfect answer. Well, we shouldn't have kept the hand, but it is something to consider that if we're not on the deck at some point in the early stages of the game, we're in trouble. Man. Okay, we have a 2-drop. We have a 3-drop. We've got a bigger one. Hello! Good game! So we'll take 1 damage, but we're okay with all of this. Toss out our boy. He won't have any kind of haste or anything like that. And I'm fine trading him out with the Rapid Battery. Depends on what he casts, if he casts it before the Rapid Battery, but I'm fine either way. The goal here is drop our third mana, make him into the fourth, and pop out Sulfim on the early side of things. I think I'm just doing this, right? Totally fine. Yeah. By throwing this out now, this comes out and becomes a pretty good blocker. Not the greatest of blocker. Yeah, I'm not gonna block that. You did it! You're a success. We'll put a Kiki Chiki out there. We'll use him as a tump blocker. We can certainly attack right now, right? Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's fine. Two cards, we can do that and that. That's fine. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we know what you're up to. That's fine. Good on you. One of the only things I could do. Yeah. Submit to. Okay. This guy is perfect for blocking. And sure, if we ever get that Forge out, we can start to use it, or we can start to make Phyrexian Goblin tokens as chump blockers for Kembra. Right? So, having a couple chump blockers that go out, having a couple Fable and Mirror Breakers that go out, all of these allow us to do some pretty fun stuff. Come on. I need that all will be one. Sure. Shit. That was not what I expected. Unfortunately, I have to jump here. This is good. Cambridge Orchidee, Whip, and Rabbit. Huh? I'll take it. I like it. That's fine. Just stick wild counters onto things. It's fine. Don't care. I think we can throw this out there as well. We're just going to stick it on there. Well, chump chump. unfortunately. That's going to be game. So this deck is poop. Wants to give the other guy a chance to get any kind of board presence, especially with the equipment deck. There's not much you can do. I don't think I have a Danitha. I think the whole thing is a really good deck. There we are. Okay. GG's.